Hello, traders. Because of income coming to you from theclosingprint.com, Sunday, December 7th, 2025. In this edition of your weekend video newsletter, we'll discuss the indices less than 0.5% below recent all-time highs with the Fed rate decision this week on Wednesday, leaving us with 14 bullish indicators for neutral and 2 bearish. As such, we'll start this week with a bit of caution as VIX is at lows and could spike after FOMC. The S&P Equal Weight Index did test all-time highs, triple top, potential for this to pull back in if VIX spikes and the Fed announces bad news, with the S&P 500 index less than 0.5% below recent all-time highs. Volume has been solid as we've priced in a Fed rate cut on Wednesday. If that doesn't happen, look for VIX to spike, necessitating a reassessment of the markets in the short term. The Christmas holidays are just around the corner, so we're looking for retail to outperform. Lulu, for example, moved higher last week, breaking above recent pivots. Additional retailers like TJ Maxx also moved higher, with Walmart making new 52-week highs as well. The Qs also moving higher, but well off of recent all-time highs, with the New York FANG Index neutral and above its 50-day moving average. Small caps and the New York Stock Exchange both making new all-time highs as we wait for the Fed rate decision on Wednesday. With VIX at recent lows, we are a bit cautionary going into this week with the Fed rate decision, as this could reverse from recent lows. Junk has been moving higher with VIX moving lower, so we'll be looking for this risk-on trade to continue, while Bitcoin continues to make higher highs and higher lows. These risk-on signals could foretell a follow-through into year-end. We just need to see VIX lower, junk bonds moving higher, along with biotechs and other risk-on assets like Bitcoin and the Russell 2000 small caps. U.S. dollar did back off a bit for the last couple of weeks. We need to see that bounce as well, as a strong dollar does benefit U.S. companies that sell products and services overseas. Likewise, the Japanese yen U.S. dollar has started to strengthen, as the Japanese finance minister has indicated tightening, creating an unwind of the Australian dollar, Japanese yen carry trade that we all need to pay attention to. In addition, crude oil remains range-bound and a slight downward sloping channel. Good for consumers going into the holidays. At the same time, gold and silver remain near highs, with gold fading a little bit last week with an upward bias, 921.50 up and to the right. Silver made a new high, with yields moving higher and bonds moving lower. The 10-year yield had been moving back above the 50-day moving average. We want to see this stay range-bound, which would benefit small caps trading at all-time highs. Overall, bonds, currencies, and commodities are neutral to bullish for equities in the short term, yet we still need to pay attention as we ease into the Fed rate decision on Wednesday. Biotechs remain strong. That's a risk-on signal, with transports also moving higher as stocks like FedEx and UPS remain bid, with rails also pushing higher. Communications also showing strength, with rotation into the heavyweights like Meta and Google. Financials saw some strength, Industrials consolidating recent gains. Tech remaining fairly strong. Semiconductors pushing a bit higher. With MACD, stochastic RSI all moving higher. Volume looks okay. Consumer staples fading a bit, along with utilities and healthcare. In particular, the pharmaceutical stocks have pulled back for over a week. We might get a bounce there, so keep an eye on the stocks like Merck, J&J, and Lilly. All of these faded over the last week and a half. With consumer discretionary and retail showing strength, look for these sectors to continue moving higher into the holidays. The IBD 50 stocks are showing some strength. We'll look for some of these to follow through. Note there are some retailers in here, along with semiconductors like Micron. Look like they'll follow through. In the scans, mostly retail popping up, in addition to stocks that are showing strength. Stock charts technical rank, Scooter, SCTR. In cyan, down below, we see SanDisk, Western Digital, ONDS, Bloom Energy, among others that could follow through this week. Remember, we have support at 6,800 and resistance 6,900, 6,950, and 7,000 going into this week. Of the IBD 50, we're seeing some of these pharmaceutical and biotech names pretty strong, with Anaply Bio making new highs, ALHC in the healthcare group also higher, AppLovin moving higher, Atour Lifestyle Holdings making new all-time highs on above-average volume, MACD and stochastics rising. Comfort System, FIX, I believe they're being added to the S&P 500. I don't know which date. Make sure you do a little bit of research, but that one looks pretty strong, trading at $1,000. Fabrinet also pushing higher on above-average volume. MACD and stochastics rising. Many of the gold and silver mining stocks also still on the IBD 50 with Goldfields and First Majestic Silver looking fairly strong. Harmony Gold and Hecla Mining. IAM Gold, Kinross Gold, both of those looking fairly strong. We have Natera also breaking out last week to do highs, with RSI showing muscle, volume, indicating institutions are actively accumulating shares. MACD and stochastics are higher and embedded. Look for Natera to follow through this week. Nutex Health in UTX showing strength, following through, RSI rising, MACD and stochastics also bullish, with volume showing institutions are actively accumulating shares, NUTX. Ralph Lauren in the retail group also breaking higher on Friday, along with many other retailers like TJ Maxx, Estee Lauder, Walmart, Lulu. Reddit also breaking out last week. We mentioned this one. We do have calls looking for a follow-through and a retest of all-time highs over the next several weeks into the first quarter of 2026. Vertiv Holdings also breaking higher, looking very strong last week, with RSI rising, volume increasing, MACD and stochastics also bullish, looking for a follow-through as institutions accumulate shares in Vertiv Holdings. Additionally, retailers fairly strong. We did see a lot of rotation into this group. Lulu breaking out. TJ Maxx also previously mentioned looking for a follow-through, with the stock about to break out to new all-time highs. Volume picking up. in addition to other retailers like Five Below, breaking out to new highs on above average volume for the past 3 trading sessions, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. MACD and stochastics are bullish. RSI rising. Look for Five Below to push higher as well. Okay, traders, that's going to do it for me. This is Cousin Vinny coming to you from theclosingprint.com, Sunday, the 7th of December, 2025. Make sure you check out the stocks below in the IBD 50 list, scans and scooters. All of those look like they could follow through. Remember, we have 14 bullish, 4 neutral, and 2 bearish going into the week with FOMC on Wednesday. So there is jump risk as volatility continues to collapse. It's a possibility that that spikes sometime this week after or during the Fed rate decision on Wednesday. I'll send out a watch list later tonight around 12 midnight on the East Coast, around 9 o'clock on the West Coast. So be sure to check your inbox for that later tonight. Otherwise, enjoy the rest of your weekend. Take care, and we'll see you in the morning. Ciao.